Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another edition of NoDQ&A video. This is episode number 483 right here on NoDQ.com as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate ringsidenews.com. Got your questions from spring.me/Aaron Rift. So let's get started with the first one today from Wayne Washington. Yo Aaron, could you see the main event for WrestleMania 31 being Ambrose versus Rollins versus Reigns? I know anything can happen, but it's a cool match to do. Well, I definitely think we will see that match at some point. I think it's inevitable, and I think WWE would be completely out of their minds to not do that match at some point. Don't know if it's going to be WrestleMania 31 just because that's so far from now, and any number of things can happen between now and then. Storylines will change, characters will change. So I think if you're going to do that match, you need to do it sooner than later. I don't know if SummerSlam is going to be the place because right now the talk is that Roman Reigns will be facing Triple H in a singles match at SummerSlam, but anything can happen, and I think that there's a very good possibility we'll see that match take place before the year is over. Maybe the September pay-per-view or maybe Survivor Series, somewhere around there. But I do think it will happen at some point, and it should be an all-time classic WWE match. At least I'm hoping that'll be the case. But with those three guys and those guys going at it, the Shield exploding, should be one of the all-time greatest WWE matches in recent history. All right, this one comes from C. Milron2. Hey Aaron, I was curious about the Seth Rollins heel turn. Do you think that this could be a smokescreen and really Seth Rollins is going to turn on Triple H and Randy Orton and give him a Daniel Bryan moment similar to what he had with the Wyatts? Don't think that's going to happen for a few reasons. First of all, it wouldn't make any sense for Seth Rollins to turn on Ambrose and Reigns and have those guys beaten up because it's all part of a master plan. And secondly, why would he turn on them? The Shield, they beat Evolution 2 pay-per-views in a row. Why would they need to go on this little mission here to get to Triple H and Randy Orton? Just doesn't make any sense logically. And as much as I would love to see the Shield stay together as a unit, the fact is at some point they were going to need to split, and the way they did it was fine. It's over and done with now, and I think a swerve would be a huge mistake to do at this point. That would be something out of the Vince Russo playbook, although it's rare you get the babyface swerves. Usually it's the heel swerve. But yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen. A lot of people have asked me about it, though. So, I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think WWE is going in that direction. It's pretty clear to me that, they're going to have Seth Rollins as the top heel with Triple H, and they're going to continue to build up Roman Reigns as perhaps the next John Cena. And, Dean Ambrose will also be up there as a top star, whether he's a face or a heel. It's time for all three of them to go off on their own and do their own thing. All right, this one comes from Garbo83. Hey Aaron, now that the Shield have split up, do you expect them to all get new entrance music and attire changes? How key do you think these aspects are for getting a singles act over? Well, I definitely think it's important, and I can see why maybe some people think perhaps that this whole Seth Rollins turn is a big swerve because of the fact that he was on SmackDown still wearing the Shield gear. I am guessing that in the near future they will all have new ring attires, and I think it's long overdue. I don't think that Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose should keep the Shield gear. I think that they should have new gear, and hopefully they have good entrance music. The Shield's music was a really good theme song for those guys, and I do think that it's important that they have catchy theme music. I mean, look at Cesaro. He has that terrible theme song, and I think that that's part of the reason that he's not really going anywhere right now. Also the fact that he's been booked in a mid-card position, but that's a totally different topic. But yeah, I really do hope that they have some cool ring attire and entrance music, and it's definitely very important. And you obviously don't want to completely rush it. Maybe when they were taping SmackDown, they didn't really have an idea for Seth Rollins' gear yet, so they just had him go out there with the Shield gear. It was only one day after the turn, and also it's believed that whole turn was done at the last minute. So, they're probably right now, coming up with ideas for music and gear and all that stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. All right, this one comes from Chick A. Chuck. Hey Aaron, just wondering if you think that Batista can ever turn face in his career due to the vast majority of the fans hating him, whether he's a face or heel. I definitely think that Batista can make a successful face turn when he comes back. I've talked about this in previous videos. He was a guy that was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He came back when fans wanted to see Daniel Bryan in that main event spot, and they wanted to see him in the Royal Rumble, and they were very upset about it, and Batista was just a guy who was there, wrong place, wrong time. Same thing with Rey Mysterio and a lot of other people that were in that Royal Rumble match, and fans just resented Batista for being the handpicked guy who can just come back and be pushed straight to the top when guys like Daniel Bryan are busting their ass all year, and they miss out on WrestleMania. So, it was just a bad situation for Batista. I think fans will cheer him when he comes back, and they'll do the feud with Triple H and Randy Orton. And, Batista, I think he'll be fine when he comes back. All right, this one comes from Brucius. What do you think about having a Divas Money in the Bank match? I think that there's a lot of issues with doing that match. I think that, first of all, the Divas division isn't high enough on the WWE totem pole. And if the Divas division was taken more seriously, I think it would be more of a possibility. And also, who do you really put in that match? I don't think you have enough talented divas that can wrestle that could pull that kind of match off. People would have very high expectations for a Money in the Bank, a ladder match with those divas. So, who would you put in there? You could put in Paige, Emma, Charlotte. You could bring in Natalya. AJ Lee, but who else could you put in there? If with the current crop, most of the divas, from Total Divas, you put them in that match, it's going to be a complete train wreck, and it would just really hurt, I think, the Money in the Bank stipulation if they did that. So, don't really think it's a good idea, but who knows? Maybe one day, if the Divas division is given more of a priority and you have more talented wrestlers in the Divas division, you could certainly try it and see what happens with it, but you would really need to do it right and really take the Divas division seriously for it to have a chance. All right, this one comes from Scrunch 2012. Hey Aaron, what are the chances when Chris Jericho returns that he will get the undisputed title again before his career is over? There's always a chance, and, maybe if he decides to come back and have one final run and make it clear that it's going to be his last run, I could definitely see maybe him getting one more title reign before he retires. Right now, I think he's happy with just coming in every couple months or every year or so and having a short run where he's helping put over the younger talent. And, it's not really a big deal for him to be the world champion again. I think if he was to be world champion again, WWE would obviously want him to commit more to a full-time schedule. But, if he comes back and wants to have one final run and go out with a big bang, certainly I could see him getting one last chance to be the world champion. Definitely a possibility. All right, one more question here today from Baller W Shades. Hey Aaron, which two wrestlers do you think had the best chemistry? I'd say The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Well, that's certainly a top pick right there, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Those guys never had a bad match against each other. Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit. Oops, I said Benoit. Those two always had terrific matches every night that they went out there. Steve Austin and The Rock. Those guys, it was just magic every time those two worked with each other, right from when they started, feuding over the IC title, and then later on to the WWE title and headlining the WrestleManias. Ric Flair and Sting, those two always had classic matches against each other. Just so many combinations that always had, terrific matches, and always just the two of them when they stare at each other, and, they just have that chemistry with them. Those would be some of my top picks, and there's many others that I could mention here. Maybe I'll do a video sometime with the top wrestlers with the best chemistry, something like that. shoot me off some ideas for possible videos, because people have been asking me about maybe doing another series of videos with top 10s or whatever. So leave a comment on YouTube and maybe give me some feedback, maybe some ideas. The wrestlers with the best chemistry would definitely be an interesting video and a good possibility. Alright, that'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thank you for checking out today's video. Subscribe if you haven't already at youtube.com/NoDQ&AV. Share this video on Facebook and Twitter. And I will see you guys next time for another edition of No DQ&A video.